Hello, I'm Comic Field. Today, I review MLP Friendship is Magic Season 5. Let's begin. Well, before I begin, I just wanted to apologize for being so inactive the last couple of years. When my channel was initially deleted, I had gotten very depressive, and eventually, now I hate to admit it, my love of MLP kinda fell off a bit. I still claimed it to be my favorite show, but if I'm to be honest, I haven't really actually sat down and watched MLP in a while. My sister, M Stuffs, helped recently with since her love of MLP got bigger lately, and so by default mine did too. We often flourish each other with our hyperfixations. So I last left off with Rainbow Rocks, which is the only Equestria Girls movie I really like, although the first one is a guilty pleasure. Season 5, I've said it before that it was my favorite season. How's that opinion hold up? Let's find out. The cutie map. Okay, so the episode itself, I like it. It introduces Starlight Glimmer, and let's be serious for a moment here. Is our town truly an allegory for communism? Like, really, is it? I'd have to say kind of. I would classify it more as, like, what communist occultism would look like, as in universe is more seen as a cult than an ideology. Now they got that out of the way, let's continue. I like Starlight as a character, and it's cool that after 4 seasons of Monsters and Might of Magic, we've got a villain that's just a regular pony. But let's talk about the cutie map for a second. In this episode, it was cool, and in concept, it's okay. But in a lot of episodes going forward, it ends up kind of being the only reason they go on adventures. It doesn't by any means ruin the show, but it does make a lot of episodes' conflicts be because the map told me to. But the episode itself, it's awesome, or the 2 episodes. A great start to the season, 9 out of 10. Castle, Sweet Castle. I think this episode was meant to address upset fans that weren't a fan of the Twilight's house being destroyed, not in a mocking type of way, because it really shows how someone is forced to move. They often miss their old house for one reason or another. I'm the exact same way. I still miss a lot of my childhood homes, including one that was just straight up destroyed. Even though it was just a cheap trailer to everybody else, to me it was home. I mean, I played in that home, I ate in it, I slept in it, you know? This episode is relatable, and in basic concept, it's nothing like it, but I'd still compare it, at least tone-wise, to Bluey Season 3, Episode 49, The Sign. At least in that aspect. This is more of a main 6 episode, and they helped tidy Twilight's house to make it more resemble Golden Oaks. But they end up making a big dump. I like it, 8 out of 10. Bloom and Gloom, a CMC episode. These are always fun. Apple Bloom gets anxiety about Babside earning her mark, and that she may not like her cutie mark. I probably should have watched this as a kid, because I was a really anxious kid when I was Apple Bloom's age. I do still have anxiety, but mostly about other people, if that makes sense. This episode is really good for kids like that, though. 9 out of 10. Thanks for the memories. One of the saddest episodes in the show, for a episode with a pun name. I mean, it'd only be more sad if Tank just straight up died or something, but that's not a bad thing. In fact, some of the greatest stories ever told are sad. This episode is great, and it has a lot of silly Rainbow, only beaten by silly Pinky, and it's emotional too. 10 out of 10. Appaloosa's Most Wanted. This is the episode with Trouble's Shoes. The biggest pony we've seen. He's bigger than Celestia. Are we sure he's not just a horse? Anyway, the episode itself is mixed to a lot of people. I think it's decent, though. It's had a interesting take on what happens when somebody gets a cutie mark that they don't like or are ashamed of. 7 out of 10. Make new friends, but keep Discord. This is the episode with Smoker. This is also the episode with the Smooths, who is technically a reference to G1, but the 2 Smooths are completely unrelated. It's a fucking Discord episode. Only one of the O's in the whole show is bad, spoiler alert, and it's not this one. This one is hilarious and iconic. In my old Discord episode, I gave it a 10 out of 10, and I stand by it, 10 out of 10. The Lost Treasure of Griffinstone. This has the most interesting idea in the season, although it is not the best episode, by a long shot. It does have an interesting idea, with Pinky tasked to find the Idol of Boreas, which is a Griffin treasure. It's a good idea. I do have one problem, though, and it's a pretty major problem. I mean, do all the Griffins have to be grouchy assholes? I mean, this is basically retcon later with the introduction of Gabby and Gallus. Also, Gilda says they don't have a king. Is Griffinstone a republic? I mean, I don't know. Usually, the the country in MLP canon is a monarchy, but the Road Republic is never thrown around here, despite the lack of a king. Grandpa Gruff kind of serves as a leader. Maybe he's like their president or something. Anyway, the idea is awesome, and honestly, I can forgive the generalization of Griffinkind when it has a good idea and moral. 7 out of 10. Slice of life. What can I say about this episode that hasn't already been said? It's cliche, but it's my favorite. But it has too much fan service. What the hell does that even mean? They're too kind to the fans? Yeah, I agree. Hasbro should send a box of pony shit to my house. They're being too kind to me. Bugger off. I love fan service, and I love to see people put together love letters for the fans that help make this series successful. 10 out of 10. Ouch. Princess Spike. I don't care for this episode, but I think it's also overhated. It does feel kind of harsh towards Spike, but at the same time, he clearly doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing. But he's clearly trying his best. Anyway, 5 out of 10. Party Pooped. Prince Rutherford, sovereign of Yakistan, with some delegates, visits Equestria, and Pinkie Pie becomes a big yakaboo, loving their culture and attitude. Despite it being named after Afghanistan, people have compared it more to Mongolia or Tibet. Which, yeah, I can see that. But yeah, this episode is hilarious, and
we declare war!
Rutherford likes to escalate things, doesn't he? Did Equestrian Yakistan go to war, though, and that's why they've been in isolation so long? Who won? Or was it like an Iraq-Iran war type of situation where both sides claim victory? 10 out of 10. Amending Fences. Oh hey, it's the episode with Moondancer. I kind of based a couple of my OC's character traits off of her. I like this episode. Some people say Moondancer is too similar to Twilight, but it's kind of the point. I mean, Moondancer is basically just Twilight without Celestia's mentorship. That's a super interesting idea for a character, in my opinion. 9 out of 10. Do princesses dream of magic sheep? Oh, and hey, here's the episode with the self-harm allegory, and it's actually done pretty well. It's hard to find an allegory like this in a kid's show, but it was done well at a fantasy-esque setting. And it makes sense with that Luna, even after affirmation and reformation, would still feel guilt after Nightmare Moon, despite them being two different ponies, technically. But this episode has a good allegory and a message. 9 out of 10. Wow, a lot of 9s so far. Nice. And 10s, too. Camelot Boutique. Oh, hey, look, it's the episode with Rarity. This episode is actually pretty cool, though, and this season, and it's either just a season of relatability, or I just don't notice it, because this is another super relatable episode. Sometimes you feel burnt out in your passion. This is super relatable to me, considering I've only made 3 videos, including this one, this whole year so far, and we're almost at May. But yeah, it's a pretty good episode. 8 out of 10. Rarity Investigates. 2 Rarity episodes in a row. This time she's paired with Rainbow Dash. This is the episode Rainbow Dash is framed by Wind Rider, and he is discharged from the Wonderbolts. I mean, see? This is why I'm convinced that Wonderbolts are basically just the world's version of Air Force. I mean, regular stunt teams don't use the term discharged, do they? Anyway, I love the film noir aesthetic too. Spider-Man Noir is one of my favorite Spidey variants, after all. Another 8 out of 10. Made in Manhattan. Another Rarity episode. Damn, Tabitha St. Germain must have been busy in 2015. But this is the best of the 3 in a row. It's just nice seeing a different setting. Also, what is this statue? The Statue of Harmony? Anyway, 9 out of 10. Didn't have much to say about this one, I just kind of liked it. Brotherhood Social. Oh look, it's the episode with the transgender allegory. Or maybe it's more like a drag or femboy. I don't know, I'm not an expert on gender and stuff. All I know is that they're valid. Either way, I like this episode, and I like that it exists. Not just because of the allegory, but also because we barely ever see the relationship between Big Jack and Apple Bloom. Usually it's Applejack or Apple Bloom, or Applejack and Big Mac. It builds character, you know? 9 out of 10. Crusaders and the Lost Mark. Oh look, it's the episode where they get their cutie marks. And Diamond Tiara reforms, and we never see her again. The episode itself is great, though. Although I do wish their cutie marks were more unique, if that's the right word. 9 out of 10. The one where Pinkie Pie knows. This is technically Flurry Heart's first appearance. She's just in Cadence's womb. Anyway, this is another relatable episode. We're on a roll with these this season. There have been so many times I've had someone say, oh, here's a secret, don't tell anybody. And while I'm not as emotional about it as Punk, I'm always like, come on, don't tell anybody. I'm better at it now, though, but still, I like this episode. 9 out of 10. Hearthbreakers. I like the idea of this. It's basically an allegory of cultural differences. Applejack's family is invited to Pinkie Pie's family for hearthwarming. They all go to the rock farm. By the way, how does one farm rocks? Do rock seeds exist? Anyway, it has a good message that some people celebrate holidays differently. I mean, heck, during December, I may be celebrating Christmas, but a Jewish guy down the street is lighting up his candles and celebrating Hanukkah. I know that they're celebrating the same holiday here, but my point stands. 8 out of 10. Scaremaster. It's just your average Fluttershy is scared to make X thing episode. Alright message and cute moments, and I like the Halloween/Nightmare Night aesthetic of the episode, but I feel this episode retreads old ground, like a lot of Fluttershy episodes do. 7 out of 10. What about Discord? Remember earlier when I said there was one bad episode that starred Discord? Here it is. Twilight being suspicious of Discord over an inside joke is freaking stupid. And what makes the episode worse is the ending. I mean, if that ending wasn't there, it would have at least had a good message, but said message was completely screwed over here. There is no point to this episode. Why does it exist? Discord is good per usual, but that's really it. In my old review, I gave it a 4 out of 10. I'm going to change it to a 3 out of 10 here, though. The Whofields and McColts. This whole episode is a reference to this bitter violent rivalry in the 1800s America. A random piece of history to reference in MLP, but it's actually a really good episode, to be honest. Of course, instead of guns, they use pie instead, and it's interesting how they don't even remember how the feud started until Twilight figures it out. It's so interesting, though. I love it. 10 out of 10.
The main attraction.
The episode that has the equestrian anthem, a beautiful melody. I also like the Razzle Dazzle song, too. Honestly, Call of Troy should have reappeared in MLP the movie instead of the Sia Pony. I get why they wanted to get guest star and all that, but still. I love this episode, though. 10 out of 10. The Cutie Me Remark. The only episode in MLP that has time travel or multiverse aspects. Well, 2 anyway. It's interesting, and we see alternate realities in Twilight reform Starlight. It kind of becomes Sunset Shimmer, basically. But it's okay, because Starlight's a good character in my opinion. 10 out of 10. So, here are the rankings. Literally most except 5 are 8 or higher. Seems I was indeed correct. This is the best season of MLP. I'll give Season 5 a 10 out of 10. Next, I'll review the third EQG movie, Friendship Games. It's been about 4 years since I last watched that one. I remember not liking it that much, so we'll see. It's also weird to note that Seasons 2 and 5 are my favorite seasons, yet they both have an episode with the lowest rating so far. That's weird. Anyway, subscribe for more horse.